What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna come to you and talk to you about some trials and tribulations. Uh, you know, I think trials and tribulations are one thing that we all struggle with, no matter who you are, no matter, how into God you are, or whatever. I think no matter how good your life is, how bad your life is, we're all going to struggle with trials and tribulations, no matter what. The thing that I come to you about is how we handle those. How do you handle your trials and tribulations? I was reading my Bible today. I actually have an app on my phone called Devotion app. If you have an iPhone or have any kind of thing where you can get apps, an app called Devotion is awesome. It gives you 2 devotions a day. It gives you one in the morning and one in the evening, and they've been pretty like me and one of my friends here. We use it, and I've got like 4 or 5 of my other friends that I've got involved with it too. It is just an awesome app. Especially if you're working on your faith and on your religion, on your relationship with God. It's something that's really awesome. It just kind of gives you a different perspective and just kind of get you deeper into certain verses and everything like that. So, and today what I'm talking about, trials and tribulations, it actually came from devotion today. It's in James 1:3, and it says, "For you know that when your faith isn't tested, your endurance has a chance to grow." And basically, what that's going to say is, or basically what it's saying is like, when you're tested, how you handle that determines how you grow. I know with me, if you'd have came to me, I still struggle with it. No, I'm not gonna lie, I still struggle with it. But if you'd have came to me probably about 2 or 3 months ago and just threw a screwball in my whole game plan for that day, I would have probably been mad. I'd have cussed. I'd have yelled. I'd have shut down into like, I'm not talking. I don't know what to do. I just get mad and just like, ooh, I don't know. But it's one of those things. It's really a negativity thing, especially around other people. Especially when you're sitting there saying, if you're saying that you're a Christian, you believe in God, that you trust God, and all this other stuff, and then when something goes wrong, you cuss, you yell, you downgrade whoever done it, or something of that nature. So basically, what I'm coming to you today is, how do you handle those? How do you handle your trials and tribulations, and ways to handle those? And if y'all have if y'all have watched any of my videos, y'all know that I'm a strong believer in prayer. Like, I love prayer. I never was into it, in high school, anything like that. But the last couple months, dude, I have like, every day I'm like praying. I'm praying now, probably like, 5, 6 times a day, and it's just for random stuff. It's just like, the morning time's more of my thankful time. I thank God for everything, and as everything I can that I'm thankful for. And then I ask for, I do my, I pray for people. I ask for things, something like that. So, this one, prayer to me has helped me out the most when it comes to my trials and tribulations. I know probably about a month or 2 ago, maybe. Oh, I was in my warehouse. I work for a firework company, and we stack a lot of our product with. We put one on a skid, stack it up, and we stack another skid on top of it, to make more room. Well, we got into one of our bays, or one of our warehouses, and the product was leaning real bad. So I was like, well, let's move this stuff and everything like that. So, and before we were gonna do that, I had some other plans I wanted my crew to do. So I told them, I was like, don't mess with this right now, because I got to get to these, so just leave it alone and go do what I asked you to do first, and we'll be good to go before 3 o'clock. Well, next thing I know, they're like putting product where I told them not to put product at, and then I was like, okay, guys, I was like, look here, this product is leaning real bad about to fall, and now we can't get to it because y'all blocked it in with this product. And it was like, and they basically just told me, it was like, well, we thought you wanted it. And I was like, okay, my point, y'all thought, and then at that point, I got mad. Like, they threw a screwball in my whole game plan. And I'm one of those people that once you start doing that to me, I get angry, I get mad, I hate for people not to do things the way I see I want to do them. Especially in my warehouse, because, I'm very particular about some things in my warehouse. So, but, like that day, dude, I got mad. Like, under my breath, I was F word, F this, F that, all kind of things. And, I felt really bad because, after I done that, I got my truck, because we left like an hour later, got in my truck, and I was sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, what did I just do? I got mad over something, over nothing. nothing, and it just came to the point. It was just like, wow, God, I really I ask that you guide me in handling my anger better or handling my attitudes around other people better, because I really did. I was ashamed of myself that day, and praying that day, like, ever since I prayed that prayer, like, yes, I have got mad. Don't get me wrong, and I think we all will, no matter what. But things that would normally, like, I'd have been mad at everybody in the world that could have possibly taken the blame for it. I'd have been mad at. I don't get mad no more. Like, the other day, like, I posted a video the other day, but my video was I was stuck in my truck for 3 hours, because it broke down on the side of the road. And in Hawaii, I don't know if none of y'all are familiar with Hawaii. One of the roads that I live on, or where I live, there's like 20-mile stretch of nothing. It's like a road and lava fields on both sides. Like, that's all it is. And so the point that I got to was probably like right in the middle, and my car broke down, and I had to call a tow truck. Well, during this whole time, I could have got mad, I could have been pissed, I could have kicked my truck, I could have broke things, I could have did whatever I wanted to. But the point was, I was like, wow, dude, after today, I was like, it could be worse. I could be dead. I'm glad I'm awake. My truck's broke down. So what? I use that time. I had my Bible in the car. I used that time and read my Bible. I read a chapter of 1 Corinthians. Cause I read through the whole chapter of 1 Corinthians, which is amazing, by the way. So if you haven't and you feel like you need to work on sexual immorality or anything like that, dude, 1 Corinthians is the place to read. I promise you. I don't struggle with sexual immorality anymore, but I do struggle with it, but it's not like it used to be. And that book of the Bible, 1 Corinthians, dude, it opened my eyes to a whole nother world. Like, I felt so bad for everything sexually I've ever done. And if y'all see my testimony, y'all know what I used to be like. So, but anyways, off track. But I finished off I finished off reading 1 Corinthians, and I sat there and prayed. I prayed about myself. I thanked God for everything. I prayed for my friends, stuff like that. And I was just like, I could be I could be mad at the world right now, but yet I'm not. Like, I'm in here. I had a ball. Honestly, I had the best time of my life in the truck. I was singing songs. I posted stuff on my Facebook, and it was all for laughs. Like, at that point, I was like, I just need to do anything to make myself laugh. And putting my video of me dancing on Facebook in my truck and singing a song, that makes me laugh because it is obnoxious, really. So, but the point is, people read my Facebook, and I was getting text messages all day. It was like, dude, you made my day. Like, you just made me laugh. It just brightened my day and stuff like that. And I love that. I love making people laugh. That was when I done it. But, at the same time, I had fun. Like, I was, like, in this whole other world. And I'm stuck in a truck in the blistering sun for 3 hours. And most people, I called some people and told them about it. And they was like, what'd you do? Did you get mad? Was you upset? I'm like, no, dude. I said, despite all that, today was, like, the best day of my life. And that day, man, like, I met so many people that day that were just, like, it was, like, a blessing that my truck broke down. Because, I was patient enough, and I felt like I prayed and got, like, God, just please be with me, please guide me, do not let me get angry, just let me just go with the flow today. And I did, and I just went with it, because I try to tell myself now, like, no matter how bad the situation is now, if you give it to the end of the day, maybe till the next day, you will see why something like that happened. And I got a video made. I don't know if I posted it on YouTube yet, but I had an incident with a car not declining, and it's a company card, so I knew money was on there. But my car declined, and then it took like 20 minutes to get this thing going. But in that 20 minutes, I met a manager at the place I was at. Come to find out, he was a Christian, and when he sat there and came up to me and was like, dude, he said, I'm just gonna let you know, the first time I met you 3 weeks ago, he said, I saw God in you. I saw Jesus, like, glowing out of you. And from there on, we had like another 30-minute conversation about, relationship with God, like what we're doing here, what church he goes to, like what he does in church and what he's doing in the community, vice versa, and what I want to do. And I was like, the car declining, I could have got mad again. That was my, like, I wasn't going to get my truck if that car declined. And, through that whole little 20 minutes, I ended up meeting a manager who was on fire for God and who basically encouraged me that day because of the fact that he was like, dude, I saw God in you. And that just encourages me because it's just something about when people sit there and tell you that they see God in you, especially when you're working on trying to better yourself, and then out of somewhere somebody tells you, like, I see God glowing out of you. That just makes, like, if you've never had somebody tell you that and you are full-heartedly trying to, focus on God, getting back into God, dude, that, like, it almost brought a tear to my eye. It really did. So, stuff like that is really got the last few days just kind of, hold up, guys, sorry. But, kind of, it's been one of those things that's kind of like, I was really glad that happened because it really just, I don't know how to say it, but it really motivated me that day because I had a lot of stuff go wrong that day, and I just stayed patient. I mean, I had, my car, I had another car that I had. It was, there was a possibility I was going to have to pay for something there. I still don't know if I'm going to pay for it or not, but I didn't have to at the time. And then I ended up meeting this guy. I mean, there was so much stuff that went on that day that, I was like, wow, God, you let this happen, and at the end of the day, I'm leaving more happier than when I woke up this morning. And so, and ever since then, dude, I was just like, God, just please be with me today. Just, like, guide me. And if there's something that happens that, throws a wrench in my whole plan for the day, let me just calmly handle it, calmly talk it through, whatever. And so it's one of those things that, I do believe that if you can handle the trial and tribulation of the day, that your endurance will grow and that you will be able to handle stuff like that a lot better and, like, rely more on God than trying to handle it yourself. Because, I mean, in all reality, God's here, we're here. And that's being, I really don't know how to say it. It's being positive, I guess, about us. Because I really feel like, we're not even close to God when it comes to that. We're really not. God is, God is almighty, dude. God is the almighty, maker, powerful one, whatever you want to call him. God is awesome. God is almighty. He's the one that, chooses everything. And second, though, I do not want everybody to sit there. Like, one thing, it even says in James, like, if you go through and read the first chapter of James and kind of go in depth with it, and one thing I do say before we go further, I have the NIV version of the Bible, and, dude, like, that's probably, like, the best translation for me so far. Like, all the translations I've read, this has been the best version I've had. It's a New International Version. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but there you go. But that's the Bible I got. I'm just, just so y'all know that there's Bibles out there that are for people like me that, I hate English. And so there's these and nows and those. I'm just like, I'm so confused. So, I mean, there's Bibles out there that kind of just, like, dumb the language down for us, and I'm not being mean. I use it because I understand it way better. But basically, in James, it does say, don't sit there and say that God is testing you. Because if I'm not mistaken, let me see. Don't we see my dear baby God? Their desires. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to find it for you. But either way, though, it does say, yeah, right here, verse 13. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when, by his own evil desire, he is dragged away and enticed. So technically, like that, to me, that is saying, all of us want to sit there and say, oh, God's testing me, he's trying to make me stronger. No. This is your sins that your desire is enticing you. Because, it does say you cannot test God. God cannot be tested. So why are we sitting there saying that God is testing us? Why would he? It's yourself testing yourself, but yet, it's part of everyday life that's coming up. And, that's kind of in testing your faith and everything. I mean, like, for me, when I was having sex, when I was trying to get away from it, dude, I had every opportunity in the world to just have sex with whoever. And I'm not proud of that. Like, that is something I hate. Knowing that I can do that just kind of really sucks, basically. And it's just one of those things that's like, that was my biggest sin in my mind. That was like the worst sin I could do. And there's no sin greater than the other. I don't care what it is. There's no sin greater than the other in God's eyes. If it's a sin, it's a sin. Murder, sexual immorality, same sin. You know, yes, in today's world, it's murder. Sexual immorality is not even on the page because the world has accepted it so well. But, you know, whatever your sin is, you know, that's what you're going to struggle with the most, especially if it's something that you love doing. And don't get me wrong, you guys, like, I love sex. I still do. I think it's an amazing thing. God made it for us to have pleasure, but in marriage, you know, not out of wedlock. So, you know, I do encourage everyone to pray that, you know, you can find whatever your sin is that you struggle with the most and pray to God, say, hey, God, you know, look, I want to get away from this. And I mean, to be honest with you guys, mine was sexual immorality. And so, you know, when I prayed to God, I got detailed. I was like, God, look, you know, I want to be away from masturbation. I want to be away from porn. I want to be away from, you know, women that are like just want sex. I want to be away from all that. You know, and that basically all that led to me writing down another list of what I want in a girl. You know, because I had one in high school, but, you know, I totally just threw that one out and made me a brand new one. And, you know, it's, you know, when you can do stuff like that, that's when you know you're starting to step in the right way, because you're trying to change how you outlook people. You're trying to change what you look for in like, if you're a guy, what you look for in a girl, and, you know, vice versa, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, but again, I mean, I do really just say, guys, like, if you're tempted, or if you're going through trials and tribulations, whatever, dude, like, don't sit there and put it on God. Like, don't sit there and say, oh, God's testing me, you know, I'll get through this. Yes, you will get through it, but don't say that it's God's fault that something's happening to you. You know, because I think all of us kind of fall into that trap of saying, like, oh, well, God, you know, God's almighty, He controls everything, so He's testing me now. Like, I do agree that He does in certain aspects, but when it's like sexual immorality, God's not going to test you with sexual immorality. I just don't see that I just don't see it. You know, and I could be totally wrong, but, you know, according to what, you know, I just read to y'all, which I will read again, so we are all clear on it. It says, oh man, I missed it, hold up. It says, when tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does He tempt anyone. So right there in James 13, it does say that God does not tempt anyone. So, I mean, I just proved myself right there. God does not tempt anyone. And there's even, like, I have notes in my Bible too, and it basically says in chapter 1, 13, and 14, people who live for God often wonder why they still have temptations. Does God tempt them? God tests people, but He does not tempt them by trying to seduce them into sin. God allows Satan to tempt people. However, in order to refine their faith and to help them grow in their dependence of Christ, we can resist the temptation to sin by turning to God for strength and choosing to obey His word. So, I don't know if you understood any of that, but basically, when sin comes up and is tempting you, that is Satan. That is Satan sitting there saying, hey, go against Father God. Go against Him. He don't care. You know, hey, come join me. Come have a few minutes of pleasure. You know, and basically, to get away from that, pray. Talk to God. God, I need you right now. Take this away from me. Put your faith in God. That right there should just say that, you know, when there is something that's bothering you, for me, like I said, sexual immorality is my thing. When I see on TV that there's porn, you know, I sit there, there's times I'm just like, oh, I can go watch it. I'm like, God, why? I said, get my mind off that. I'll go find a TV show. I'll find cartoons. Take it to a whole nother level. Just take it and go back to your childhood days where girls had cooties, you know, back in the old days, man. So, you know, I do ask that you pray. You know, especially when it comes to the fact that, you know, when the sin's coming up into the nature. You know, like, we're all gonna sin no matter what. You know, all of us, you know, you're gonna sin every day. You know, no matter what. The biggest thing is ask for the forgiveness of Father God and go from there. Like, you know, I don't expect all y'all to be like perfect Christians, and neither does God, but, you know, strive to be that person. Strive to be better tomorrow than what you are today. You know, if today, say today you got away from cussing, okay, tomorrow take it a step further. Just each day, take another step. Try to get rid of something else in your life that is negative. And, and put it toward God. Say, God, look, I need help with this. I need help, whatever it is. Get detailed about it too. Like, don't sit there and say, oh, God, I just want to get away from sex. Sex is a broad word. And I know I keep bringing up sexual immorality, but it's because I have a problem with it now. Like, I have a problem with seeing how guys treat girls, how girls treat guys. Because now in today's world, it's such a norm and such a, fad that it's just like, all these people are just like, oh, it's okay, I can do this because, it's accepted into the world. Well, I don't care what the world says. In the Bible, it says wait. And I believe we all should wait, honestly. And I really wish I'd have been like this when I was in high school. I really, really do. Because I was totally opposite of what I'm preaching now. And so, guys, when you're faced with your trials, temptations, your sins, whatever it is that you're faced with, turn over to God and say, God, look, I'm faced with this right now. I ask that you come into my life and just, intervene and, make it a positive. Get my thought away from that. Just anything you got to do, pray to God. Anything you got to say to Him, pray to God, and just get that sin out of your mind. Like, say, Lord, I want to get Satan away. It can be simple as that. And if you full out believe that God will come in your life, He'll be there. You can't be a fence around and be like, oh, I'm going to pray to you, God, but I doubt you're going to come. You can't do that. You cannot be half-hearted. You got to be full-hearted committed. And it's like me, like right now, like I am sure I want 1 Corinthians 12 is the gifts of the Spirit. And thanks to my friend Sarah, she has opened my eyes to these awesome gifts that you get through God spiritually. And it's, there's gifts of tongues, the translation of tongues, being able to speak it for people. There's translation of tongues, my bad. Being able to understand it. There's healing, there's prophesizing, there's like there's a lot of different spirits of the gifts of the Spirit. And, that is something I've been praying for. Like, I want one of those gifts. And, I do believe that, if I keep praying and just keep, working my heart, like, saying, God, I know you're going to give it to me, and here's what I'll do with it when you give it to me, I believe I'll get it one day. Like, and it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not even be a year from now, it may be, 5-10 years. I just think that, pray about it and just have 100% faith that it's going to happen, and it'll happen. So, when it comes to those trials and tribulations, guys, put 100% faith in the God, and I guarantee you, you will be a more positive person, and you'll start seeing the positive the outlook of everything that God has made that God is in control of. And I'm a real big believer in prayer. So start off with prayer, and then if y'all need help or whatever, comment on my YouTube stuff, dude. Send me a message, whatever, and I will try my best to help you. And if I don't know how to help you, I will find the answer for you and get what you need to help. Like, and if it's struggling with drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever. If it's struggling because, hey, me and my wife are arguing, hey, dude, I'm here. I'll vent. You can talk to me, and I'll pray for you. We'll pray together, whatever. So I do sit there and say that, give it to God. Give whatever problems you have to God and say, God, here, can you handle this? And He will. I promise you guys. So, with that said, just have faith in God, guys, and read James, guys. If nothing else, read chapter 1 in James. That will open up your eyes to this whole temptation thing. Because there's a lot of good stuff in James 1 that I read, and I think I'm probably about to start reading through James, this week. So, I hope there's more videos to come. I hope there's, some other interesting topics that I can hit on. If there's something y'all want to hear or me talk about, leave me a comment below, whatever. But anyways, love you guys. Peace out. Love God.